Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Tappern, Empowerment Coach, and welcome to my YouTube channel where I will discuss all things coaching, certainly around mindsets, and it looks to look at topics such as things like imposter syndrome, people pleasing, people lacking in confidence, how you want to get yourself out of a funk, move yourself to the next level, and looking at goals you want to achieve, all with a sense of helping you achieve a sense of inner freedom, because ultimately that's what we're here to do. That's kind of what a lot of times that's what we're looking for. I know myself personally, just through my journey of coming out of my stoma operation and then trying to go through recovery, and all through my mindset's changing of sort of myself telling myself I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, and just felt like I was an imposter, like I wasn't worthy of success, wasn't worthy of happiness. And ultimately through just sort of, it was mainly how I spoke to myself, how I listened to myself, how I was able to change my mindset, that was ultimately what helped me recover, accept my condition, and just move forward. And all my videos that you'll see in the series, they're not just solely based on sort of like coaching training I've done. These, a lot of times these are from my own personal experiences of what I've done, what I've managed to change to overcome certain things, and just sort of live the life that I love and that I'm happy living. And while it's aiming at obviously helping you guys, but it's not taking everything that I say as gospel. We all have our own journeys, and all I'm here to do is just provide a perspective. It's a perspective of things that you may be struggling in certain areas, like you may feel like you're not enough, or you may be struggling to find a sense of joy that you previously had. And I just use my story or my experiences to provide a different perspective. It's never to say that my way is the best way. It's just, and it's the same with my coaching style. It never tell you this is how you should do it, but more challenge your current way of thinking. If something's not working, well, maybe something that I may suggest or I may bring up might actually help, or it might change the way of thinking, or changing your current pattern, or it may even help. It may even help just reaffirm that your current way is the way forward. And ultimately, that's kind of what we're here to do, is just to kind of get you on that path where you're living your best life. That cliche that always says, but ultimately it is the cliche that's true. So that's kind of what this channel is here to do, is just unload kind of what I've been through, in the hope that maybe might shift perspectives, it might help provide a bit of peace, a bit of clarity, and just kind of help you move forward, or things you may find interesting, or may pass on to a friend or family member that it may help them. And I thought it'd be good to just give kind of use this as an introductory video, and certainly because some people may not know what coaching is. And the way that coaching works, it's just, a lot of times it's action based, it's objective based, where you're looking to achieve a goal, whether that's the stereotypical or most common ones of like, I want to lose weight, or I want to run a marathon, or I'm looking to change careers. They're kind of more common ones from a traditional coaching approach. And it would just go through normally it's just a set of questions where it's gauging what your goals are, where you're currently at, and what objectives you want to achieve, some action points that will help you get there, and then kind of like more like a homework, or kind of what you're going to do and when, to basically add accountability. But that's kind of the common approach to coaching, where it provides kind of useful tools, and just allow you to be creative on your own journey. And a lot of times some people have the questions of how is coaching different from therapy. And it's always open to interpretation. People have their own views. My interpretation is, well, therapy is there to look at your past. It's there to heal from a past trauma and understand why it happened. And while some coaching elements can look into that, it's not always the case. While coaching is mainly there to kind of help you from where you are now to where you want to be moving forward. Because obviously, again, we look at cliches. It's like, well, how can I be present and live this best moment that naturally helps build momentum into your future? And it's just a focus. It's just focusing on the healing in the present, that you can then build a better future for yourself. And certainly with my style of coaching, so my style of coaching is very much, I take like a mentorship approach as well, where I look at empowering people to achieve a sense of inner freedom, like I was able to achieve for myself, where it can draw the line from a sort of therapy perspective. I would only tend to ask about your past based on why this is your current way of thinking. Ultimately, it's understanding what your inner dialogue is and what your I use the phrase kind of default setting is. So if you have a triggering moment, what's the default? What's the first thought that keeps coming into your head? It's like, I screwed up at that. I'm never going to be good enough. Like, how is that the current go-to setting or the current go-to thought that always crops up? So it's analysing what's causing that thought, that then as soon as you can get an understanding of what's causing that default setting, can you then look to really understand it, get clarity on it, and then once you've got that, look at how you can overcome that and start changing things. A bit like how you shift perspective from a negative to a positive. What's the default setting that when that event or circumstance happens again, how can we look at actually know what's the truth? Because a lot of the times that's ultimately where we're giving these limiting beliefs on ourselves. It's just through unfactual evidence that we're not enough or we're not as good as anyone else, where this is just a narrative that through sort of programming or societal programming that says we need to be better. And it's okay, well, how can we, once that's my default thought that keeps coming up, actually what's the reality? What's the truth? The truth is I am good enough, as simple as that. The truth is I am worthy, I have just the right to be successful as anyone else. And it's just through those shifts, and then there's a lot more detail to it, but ultimately that's my style of coaching, is looking at sort of what are your thought patterns, how are you talking to yourself, and more importantly, how are you listening to yourself? Because ultimately things won't change, or you won't find that sense of onward achievement until you start looking at how you're actually interacting with yourself, that you can then start making those changes. And as soon as you start making those changes, it's having the patience and the faith to keep with it, that you'll soon start realizing. And a lot of people, when I've spoken to past clients, they'll say, well, it's not, and we all know, like anything, even like a therapy as an example, you'd be kind of naive to think it's going to instantly change within a day. These things can take weeks, can take months, but with the practice and the faith, and as I said, just the repetition, you'll be amazed. You might have had it in the past before, where all of a sudden you're out with friends and you're trying something new and they think, oh, you just seem more confident, like you're smiling more, you feel like you're having fun. And it's that kind of evidential proof that the work you're doing is paying off. You might not see the results as we like to see in like proof of concept, but over time, when you're starting to embody that new you or new form that you're taking, that's when you'll get sort of the evidence that's coming back that kind of everything's working. And also with my kind of coaching approach, as I mentioned, clarity is very important. And if anyone has like a goal that they want to achieve, like I want to be more confident, or I want to stop people pleasing, or I just want to feel worthy or feel more joy. And the key, as I said, is clarity. And how we do that is we look at kind of the easy way is, okay, so what's your 10 out of 10? Even if you just want to score it have a scoring system, because visualization is also a key approach to coaching, of just having a visualization as, okay, so what does the most joyful me look like out of 10 out of 10? And you just then envision that the perfect me is doing X, it's doing Y, it's doing Z, it's going out, it's going on holidays, it's being with friends more. That when you understand what your 10 out of 10 is, you can then take a look back and go, okay, so where am I now? And if you're scoring yourself like, well, a 4 out of 10, then there's nothing wrong with that. What it's doing is it's then giving you a way forward. It says, okay, so I know what my ultimate 10 out of 10 looks like, but currently I'm a 4. What it does is it gives you possibilities. So then you can start looking at, okay, so what will I need to do I feel to get myself to a 5 out of 10, a 6 out of 10, a 7 out of 10? And by having that kind of benchmark that you're reaching to, so you have a clear understanding of what a 7 out of 10 is on your journey towards a 10 out of 10, that is your evidence of saying, well, I'm actually now a 7 out of 10, and I can feel that, and I'm seeing the evidence for it. And that's how you'll know when you're there. And then once we kind of have that, one of the key things to go, I think, when you kind of finish the practice as such, is permission. And this is kind of one of the key things that helped me in my recovery. Was sometimes you're in such a downward kind of crappy space a lot of the time, that when you start feeling a sense of joy, you start to question, like, do I deserve this? Why am I so happy? I don't have a right to be happy. Like in my case, I've got a stoma bag. Like I feel like I should be, the stigma is I should be miserable. I should be unhappy that I have to live this life in my bag and just like wallow in my own self-pity. And you start to think, well, yeah, why am I happy? Like, I've got this. And the key thing, as I said, is permission, in that, no, we all deserve to be happy. We all deserve the joy. It's, can I give myself the permission to stay in a place that I deserve to be in? And that's kind of how you start cementing the change as well, is when you start seeing the improvement. It's like, if you're looking for more joy, it's giving yourself permission to keep that joy. And that's kind of the key things that I tend to work with my clients, is not only just understanding what they're looking for, but how they can cement giving themselves the permission to stay there as well. And I think the last thing is also understanding that from a coaching perspective, I can't do the work for you. Your friends can't do the work for you. You have to do the work for yourself, because you're the only one that can do the improvements, make the changes. You can't rely on other people to make that change for you. Otherwise, it's just not sustainable. It's not going to stay there, and chances are you'll kind of revert back to your old ways. You're the one that has to do the work. It's the tough part. Like, this isn't easy. Like, it's a long process. So I said, just as long as you got the patience, as long as you got the faith, that's the step. That's one of the key parts into getting yourself to that journey, or that achievement of inner freedom, or where you're looking to go. So hopefully that's given kind of a detailed introduction to kind of what this channel is all going to be about, and some of the content. There'll be lots of content coming in sort of in the weeks where it will look specifically at the things like imposter syndrome, feeling worthiness, being made to feel you're enough, the people pleasing. There's going to be so much content, but again, it's all come from my experience that's helped me, and hopefully it could just help one person just to kind of see a different avenue of their own journey, and provide like a new perspective that may be able to help them. So yeah, again, welcome, and click on the subscribe button and you should get the notifications when these videos come up.